Welcome to Spelling Bee Ninja, where we empower students with the knowledge and tools they need to excel. Subscribe now for free educational content and join our community of curious minds eager to master new concepts. Today, we dive into the fascinating world of ratios and proportions. These mathematical tools help us understand the relationships between numbers and make informed decisions in everyday life. Ready to explore? Let's get started. Ratios and proportions are everywhere in our lives, making them essential concepts to understand. Let's start with what a ratio really is. A ratio is a comparison of two or more quantities, and it helps us show the relative size of each. You can express ratios in different ways, using a colon, like 2 to 3, as a fraction, such as 2/3, or even by saying 2 to 3. Understanding ratios allows us to make meaningful comparisons between different quantities. They're present in numerous aspects of daily life, from cooking to finances. For instance, if a recipe requires 2 cups of flour for every 1 cup of sugar, we know the ratio of flour to sugar is 2 to 1. This simple relationship guides us in creating the perfect dish. Fun fact: the ancient Babylonians used ratios over 4,000 years ago for everything from calculating building materials to predicting astronomical events. Clearly, ratios have played a vital role in human civilization for centuries. And now, let's move on to proportions. A proportion is an equation stating that two ratios are equal. For example, if we have 2/3 and 4/6, we see that both ratios simplify to the same value, which means they form a proportion. Proportions are extremely valuable because they help us solve for unknown quantities. If you know 3 out of 4 parts of a proportion, you can find the missing part using a method called cross-multiplication. This principle is applicable in everyday situations, such as scaling recipes, converting currencies, or determining distances on a map. Did you know that the term proportion comes from the Latin word proportio, meaning in relation to? It's all about understanding how quantities relate to each other, and then let's examine ratios in a practical, fun context: cooking. Cooks frequently use ratios to create and modify recipes. Every recipe relies on the ratios of different ingredients to one another. For instance, in bread making, you might encounter a ratio of 5 to 3 flour to water. This means, for every 5 parts of flour, you should use 3 parts of water. By understanding ratios, cooks can easily scale recipes up or down for different serving sizes, adjust ingredients while keeping proportions intact, and achieve consistent results. Precision is notably important for bakers, as baking is a science that requires exact measurements for chemical reactions to succeed. Speaking of which, did you know that the perfect pizza dough has a hydration ratio of about 60%? That means for every 100 grams of flour, you're adding 60 grams of water, a technique honed by pizza makers through centuries of experimentation. And next, let's discover how ratios play a vital role in map reading and scale drawings. Maps often depict large distances or objects in a manageable size, thanks to ratios. For example, a scale ratio of 1 to 100,000 indicates that 1 centimeter on the map corresponds to 100,000 centimeters in real life. Proficiency in interpreting scale drawings enables us to calculate actual distances based on map dimensions, plan routes, and visualize relationships between locations. Architects and engineers also depend on ratios to create scale drawings, which are crucial in floor plans and blueprints. Interestingly, the largest map in existence is the Map of the Universe, developed by scientists at Johns Hopkins University. It represents astronomical distances in a single visualization, and in the world of finance and business, ratios are indispensable tools for analyzing performance and guiding decisions. Financial ratios clarify how well companies function. Ratios like the debt-to-income ratio highlight the proportion of debt to income, while profit margins show the relation between profit and revenue. Other notable ratios include the price-to-earnings ratio and the current ratio, both essential for making informed financial decisions. These ratios allow investors and analysts to compare companies of varying sizes, track performance trends over time, and assess financial strengths or weaknesses. Banks commonly refer to these ratios when evaluating loan applications, making them a critical component of financial decision-making. The price-to-earnings ratio is one of the most monitored financial ratios globally because a high ratio often indicates that investors foresee robust future growth, and moreover, construction professionals rely extensively on ratios for safe and durable structures. The water to cement ratio in concrete, for instance, is vital as it impacts the concrete's strength. An ideal mix often follows a ratio of about 0.5 parts water to 1 part cement by weight. Other essential construction ratios include those governing the mix of mortar, beam spacing, and load to strength capability. Years of engineering research have refined these ratios, ensuring buildings, bridges, and roads can endure the test of time. Fun fact: the concrete used to build the Hoover Dam was mixed with meticulous ratios to achieve the desired strength. That dam contains enough concrete to construct a highway from New York to San Francisco, and artists and designers also utilize ratios to craft visually stunning and balanced creations. The golden ratio, which is approximately 1.618 to 1, has served as a guideline for artists and architects for generations, promoting aesthetically pleasing proportions in paintings, sculptures, and buildings. Ratios apply to various elements in design, such as aspect ratios, dictating the width to height relation in images and screens. Understanding design ratios enables artists to create works that seem harmonious and appealing to the human eye. Interestingly, the aspect ratio of contemporary screens is often 16:9, which is close to the golden ratio, contributing to a visually pleasing experience for viewers. And in healthcare, understanding ratios is paramount, especially when it comes to medication dosing, interpreting lab results, and assessing overall patient health. Doctors often base drug doses on ratios, such as milligrams of medication per kilogram of body weight. Ratios are also crucial in lab results for comparing patient values against normal ranges, like the proportion of red to white blood cells in the body. Important medical ratios include cholesterol ratios and blood pressure ratios, both key in treatment and monitoring patients' health. Remarkably, the Apache 2 score, which is utilized in intensive care, incorporates several ratios to predict patient outcomes, influencing treatment decisions. And in the world of sports analytics, ratios help evaluators gauge player and team performance efficiently. Ratios enable fair comparisons across different positions and even eras of sports. In baseball, a player's batting average represents the ratio of hits to at-bats, while in basketball, the assist-to-turnover ratio measures a player's decision-making skill. Common sports-related ratios include win-loss ratios, shooting percentages, and player efficiency ratings. Coaches harness these insights for game strategies and talent evaluation, while fans appreciate the deeper understanding of the game. Fun fact: the NBA introduced player efficiency rating, which encapsulates various statistics into a single ratio, letting fans compare players from various eras. And finally, grasping the concepts of ratios and proportions is critical for effective problem solving. Proportional reasoning enhances our ability to scale items accurately, enabling us to solve real-world problems efficiently. Whether it's adjusting a recipe based on serving size or discerning if a store deal is truly advantageous, our understanding of ratios guides these decisions. Studies reveal that students who develop proficient proportional reasoning skills excel in math, science, and even reading comprehension. Thus, mastering these skills proves indispensable as we navigate life's numerous challenges. In today's lesson, we explored the intriguing world of ratios and proportions and their vital role in our everyday lives. We uncovered how ratios compare different quantities, illustrated their significance in cooking, map reading, finance, construction, art, healthcare, and sports. Understanding these principles allows us to make informed decisions and solve real-world problems efficiently. Through the examples we discussed, it's clear that mastering ratios and proportions is not just a math skill but a life skill that benefits us in countless ways. Thank you for joining us today on Spelling Bee Ninja. We hope you've gained valuable insights into the importance of ratios and proportions. If you enjoyed this lesson, please subscribe and be part of our learning community, where we explore mathematics and other subjects in depth. Join us next time for more engaging and educational content. Until then, keep exploring the world of knowledge and stay curious.